we're looking at least over the near to midterm to make sure that as a company and as an enterprise, we have sufficient liquidity for good and bad times. We are positioning our asset quality dispositions on a limited basis. We're preserving optionality around our minimum amount of debt that's coming due through 2026, and just sort of looking at shoring up where we deploy capital that's going to have the higher and best use for growth of the portfolio going forward.
Joining me today is Victor Coleman, Chairman and CEO of Hudson Pacific Properties. So, Victor, what steps is Hudson Pacific taking as it positions itself in response to broader macro challenges, as well as the ongoing writers' strike?
Well, thank you, Sarah, for having me here. So just real briefly, on the macro side, we're looking at least over the near to midterm to make sure that as a company and as an enterprise, we have sufficient liquidity for good and bad times. We are positioning our asset quality dispositions on a limited basis. We're preserving optionality around our minimum amount of debt that's coming due through 2026, and just sort of looking at shoring up where we deploy capital that's going to have the higher and best use for growth of the portfolio going forward. In terms of the writer's strike, it's a moment in time, and we are compassionate on both sides. We understand where the writer's position is, but we also understand the position of the studios and the streaming companies and how they look at it. So I know it's going to be a challenge for both sides to come to some form of agreement over any short period of time, but as I said, it's a moment in time. We know it will resolve, and the upside is going to be very big for Hudson.
And how is Hudson Pacific shaping its portfolio to be able to provide facilities for the boom in production content that will likely resume once the strike is settled?
Great question. I think at the end of the day, we anticipate once this strike is settled, somewhere between 30 to 90 days, there will be a massive ramp up for pre-production, and our facilities will be prepared. Our transportation business, our comms business, our operating companies will be prepared for that well in advance. It's similar to what we just went through with COVID, where there was a stoppage of production. So we just experienced it over the last few years. And then we had the greatest year in production of all time. Once COVID was behind us and production could start again, the ramp up took place. The interesting difference here is in production, it's typically based upon some form of downtime seasonality. Here, when this starts, there will be no seasonality. It will just roll forward, and it will be really exciting for us as a company to capitalize on that.
And can you talk about your partnership with Blackstone to build a film and studio facility outside London?
Yeah, well, Blackstone's our partner and our assets in the studio business. We are 50-50 partners. We own existing sound stages and facilities, 3 existing facilities and sound stages in Los Angeles. We're building another one in the Valley of Los Angeles as well, in Glen Oaks, and we're almost completed. That project will be done the end of this year, first quarter of next. We've announced 2 other projects. One is the London project, which will be the highest and best use, 100-acre project, 22 sound stages and production facilities in London. And then we're also partnering with Vornado on a project here in Manhattan, which will be the first purpose-built project studio here in Manhattan that's ever been built. So we're very excited about all of our projects and our relationship with Blackstone and the growth of the business going forward.